And welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American closed qualifiers for ESL 1 Cologne in North America. We have one, and as far as I'm aware, one slot only up for grabs here in the North American region, and the bracket continues. Now in the semifinals, we're getting ready to start our first one, and it's going to be between CLG and the Renegades. Jumping right into it, of course, I'm joined by Bach. Bach, why don't you just take it away?
All right, so we'll be the CT side of CLG versus the T side of Renegades, and Cutler charging his way towards the balcony position. It's a three-man hold right now on this A bomb site, where it looks like they're going to get pressured in just a moment. As we can see, a bulk of the bodies building up for Renegades just outside A ramp. JKS is the lone attacker coming in from the palace. Cutler is on balcony to take care of that player. Flashbangs in, but Cutler's slightly blinded and caught off guard as well, as the bodies are piling up from that A ramp push. He was just overwhelmed on the site, as is his teammates. Ethan goes down. FNS has at least come up with a few kills from CT Slope, and he's still here, swinging away with that USP, but his teammates now coming in for the retake. It's going to be Kusta and Rikke versus Azza and JKS. And now Rikke has a chance for revenge against his former teammates, as it is going to be CLG picking up the round.
Azar takes that aggressive second duel out from the ticket booth, and that seems to be what seals the deal there, as it does give himself away to the steps player, allowing for Kusta to shut things down and pick up the final kill against JKS as well. So it's CLG that will control the situation, starting themselves off on the pistol. Excuse me, they will go up 1-0. Renegades do find a plant, though, so you can expect a relatively light buy here in the second round as they save up for round number 3, where we'll probably see the first real investment from them.
Yeah, full save coming in here. Just pistols purchased by Renegades to try and give them a little bit of firepower to potentially get a bomb down. It looks like early on they're going to split their forces, though, sending one into B apartments, one top mid, 3 towards A, but they're going to siphon one off of A very quickly. Nifty going to join the players back with the bomb over in the B apartments area. Solid setup right now for CLG to force this one to an easy end, as it's going to be umps for everyone but Kusta. And they know just how much money they can make, realizing that Renegades is likely to be saving up here. Good damage dealt by Azza from underpass there as they caught Kusta looking the other direction. That would have been an expensive drop early on in the round, as it is the sole rifle in Kusta's hands responsible for watching mid-window. Rikke, though, realizes his former teammate is in underpass now, so he's just going to hold, see if they try to boost up into the window. Not going to happen. It's a lone play right there in that position. FNS moving back towards Van. He saw a leg as he glimpsed up into that area. He's going to drop a molly into Nifty's path. It's going to delay things for a bit here, but I imagine Renegades is going to keep going. That nade's going to hurt things, so, oh, man. Yeah, JKS actually took a small amount of fire damage just to try and get away, but he couldn't escape the explosion radius. So it's Azza and Ustillo, the last two left standing. Azza at least has a flank play coming in through the murder hole, but he's been spotted at this point, and now he's the last one alive.
Well, FNS finding that kill there does pretty much secure the round for AZR, or Azar, excuse me. He is just
Azza.
going to be... Yeah.
There's no R, it's Azza.
I say Azar. There is an R. There is an R. There very clearly is an R. That's the difference here, is that we do not have Australian accents, therefore trying to pronounce it with an Australian accent is a little bit ridiculous in my opinion. That's why I've never really gone for the Azza thing.
You're so ignorant.
Just saying, man. It's like trying to say Kirby's name with a Danish inflection. Just isn't humanly possible for someone who doesn't actually speak fluent Danish. Because no matter how many times you attempt it, it's just not going to be correct, apparently.
Yeah. Even if you think you're right, you're probably wrong.
Yeah. I literally sat down with a friend of mine who's Danish for like 40 minutes trying to properly pronounce that name, and I'm pretty sure I got it right like one time out of 200.
Well, the third round bye here from Renegades might leave us a little bit stumped as much as the pronunciation of Kirby's name. They lose a body early on in the round. It's Nexa who dropped with no trade opportunity there for the mixed sort of Australian team. Nifty, as a JKS and Ustillo are still in the field of play. Kusta's taken pretty significant damage. He again is trying to tail away from the play. Meanwhile, though, Cutler has found one. Kusta has to move yet again as a molly lands right beneath his feet, and before the flames can start kicking away at him, he hightails it into that A site, but just like that, the kills are piling up for CLG. It's Nifty and Ustillo, and now just Nifty, all alone, trapped in mid, ump in hand. It should be around for CLG.
Yeah, Nifty just kind of sitting back and again trying to hunt down as many kills as possible. But that may not be too many. I think he heard the guy in ladder room, but bullets whizzing past his head. He's trying to figure out where exactly these are coming from. He does finally actually see Rikke for sure. So he knows he's out here and knows he can no longer sneak his way in through the connector to try and hunt down those kills. Note as well, of course, that he does not have the bomb, so there there is no way he's going to be able to actually win out this round. Just hunting for kills, and he finally gets the one that he was hunting so dearly for. Unfortunately, there's not a better gun waiting for him. Just has to escape, happy with picking up the kill itself. And now we'll proceed out over here towards the jungle to attempt to continue that M4 on the ground, though, so he might pick that up and just try to run away. But nope, finds another duel versus Finesse, but again, forced out of the situation, and will be able to save that rifle at the very least.
So yeah, he survives with an M4. It's not bad. The rest of the team, I mean, at this point, you're at 3 rounds loss bonus. Could spend a little bit, but a pause has been called here. Not sure if this is tech or tac. Do we know if this is tech or tac?
I would assume tech since it's this early on.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like you said, like there's no reason for a technical or a tactical pause this early on, but never know, they could be trying new things. Looking at these two teams and the map pool in general, I give a slight edge to CLG on the first 2 maps. Renegades did pick Mirage, and it is a better map for them, but based on recent performances from CLG, I think that if Renegades is going to take this series, they have to win the first map. They have to force it to 3 because the second map is Overpass, and that is a map that Renegades historically vetoes. Like looking at the team, they vetoed 2 maps since the Dust 2 removal. It's Inferno and Overpass in almost all of their matches. In fact, they've only played it 4 times in recent history at all. So looking at Renegades right now, you gotta get something going here on Mirage, because I think in regards to Overpass, it could be a bit of a bloodbath for CLG.
Well, we are live once again here, so assumed technical pause. Since, like I said, that was only 3 rounds in, so not really any reason for a tactical pause that early on. But regardless, the Renegades are actually not going to be able to fully invest into this round right here. So they will save the M4 on Nifty, of course, but everybody else is just going to be on P250s. Kusta already striking with one of his own kills against Azur. And for Nifty, still trying to creep his way down and look for the trade on the Kusta, basically just trying to maximize damage with this M4, but he's already been spotted, so I imagine Kusta's going to play this relatively smart in the window. Nifty, though, with some good timing, has snuck his way into the connector and is now moving up. Should be able to see the feet of Ethan there, but he's being cautious to strike at the right moment. Still does not work out, though. Kusta comes in, shuts the rifle down, and the remaining players are trying to force their way into the site, but it's just not happening. CLG shut it down without a single player getting knocked out.
I think one of the best things about this current CLG roster and their recent improvement is the revival of Kusta. Remember his time on Enemy, he was being looked at as one of the most promising up-and-coming young players, and then he went to Liquid, and all of that went away. He went from being one of the most promising players to probably one of the most hated. He was not well-liked when he was on that Liquid squad, but I like how he's turned things around here with CLG, and he's off to a great start here on the first map of this series as well, sitting at 6-1, tied with Cutler at the top of the scoreboard. Hopefully his performance can continue in that fashion. Renegades right now do appear to be setting up for a tremendous amount of mid control with 2 players coming in from Underpass and 2 top mid as well. And the setup for CLG could either work really well or really bad depending on how they spin this. Ethan's got his back turned to top mid after he went there initially looking for kills, but fell back. Had he stuck around a little while longer, it's an easy kill as he would have been sandwiched between both sides of the attack. Instead, he falls back, and now the setup is actually even better for CLG with Rick A on Catwalk and 2 players playing at the top of Connector.
The Renegades having mid-control is a great start for them to be able to try and work this into a site, but that is the big key, is transitioning the momentum from mid-control and actually taking it into a site. They're still going to have to deal with pressure working its way from the other direction on Cat, along with the actual front fire coming out from both Ethan and Cutler into the site, and possibly Kusta too. But Kusta might actually stick back. That's a nice flash from way back. Kusta assists. We're able to trade 2 for 1. Now 2 for 2, though, as Azur brings the kill back, eliminating Cutler. That molly should force Kusta into the open. They missed their opportunity to find the kill elsewhere, though. Ricky punished Azur. Seemed like he got a little over-aggressive. I couldn't see it from my perspective, but it did look like he was trying to push his way out the murder hole. Next, though, lines up the trade kill, takes out Kusta, and once again restores the numbers balance, as Ricky is trying to slowly creep his way back up. Mark into the site. Finesse waits outside of Connector for his own opportunity. Bomb on the ground close to them, but they are running out of time. Thankfully, both the remaining players still have kits to try and work with here. Now they need to move in. Ricky misses his opportunity to kill Nexa, so he'll hold on with a second kill. I think they know as well, they know now for sure, that Finesse is going to be working his way back in on the steps. He's got the first kill. Like I said before, time getting low. He can go for this defuse, but the problem is Justillo is peeked into that when it's planted for him, so he can just waste all the time in the world. The flash goes out, completely blinds Finesse, and now he's on the run. He knows he's not going to win this one. The Renegades finally going to get their first round on the board, and Finesse just barely survives the bomb explosion.
You know, I kind of look at Kusa right now, and in that situation, he's the big player. So Kusa's got a teammate coming in from CT spawn with a flashbang. Had he waited for Rick A to get in position, he could have thrown a flash up and over the trash bins and allowed him a little bit more room to work with, and it would have. First coming into that. First one was that took the fight. He needed to come up with a little bit more action because that could have allowed Cutler to focus on the player who was backstabbing from window because he was jiggling between both top connector and window. As soon as he dies, he realizes I have to focus on connector, and that's when the man from window peaks. So it was good awareness from Renegades, utilizing that player in window at the proper timing, not having that guy lead out too early. That gave them that sort of opportunity. Still could have been a CLG round, though, and they're able to buy up anyway here. And it's going to be the double op setup as Rick A and Kusta, both proficient oppers in their own regard, pick up the ops and put them across the map. Rick A peeking towards underpass right now. I'm not sure if he just... Yeah, he connected on that shot. Dropped Azza down to 60 HP. Should have done a little bit more damage. Kusta's waiting for him on the other side as he's watching the push coming in from underpass, but he has to fall off as he's been flashbanged out of position.
And now Azert up on top of one of his teammates, I believe, trying to look for a finesse, but he escapes once again, gets himself back onto the site that is going to open up. However, another opportunity for them to just swing right through into connector and do the same exact thing they did in the last round. Worked before, might as well try it again. They don't have that double setup outside of the connector this time either. So Azert just walks in, gets himself a clean double kill. Cutler and Ethan both getting knocked out. Kusta's here at Ticket, but he really can't do anything currently. Same story for Finesse as they go for the safer plant behind trip stack this time. They do catch Azert on the fallback over here towards the T ramp, so keeping it alive, or at least attempting to for CLG, but Ricky's got his own problems to worry about way over here on the B bomb site. He's being hunted down by Nifty and possibly one other player, but the other player is not even going to be needed. Nifty immediately hits the shot, and now both Kusta and Finesse are falling back towards CT spawn to try and save.
Yeah, at this point, this is just an opportunity to hold on to guns as best as they possibly can. It's the right move. It's the right call. See them just sitting back here. FNS is taking damage here, but not too much. He's got you still spraying away, and he's actually going to win that fight as well. Kusta, though, is having a bit of trouble. It's a flashbang around the corner. Nexa's going to turn from it, but it doesn't matter. Nexa, knowing the position, just pre-fires the corner, and he's actually going to swap out and get the op. So that's a big swing there, but we've already got an op in play for the CT side as well. It's Enrique's hands now. FNS has enough money to drop potentially a rifle if he wants to, or a couple of umps, and that's going to be the call. He throws out one up. I think he threw out a second as well. Bought a rifle. Cutler, it looks like Cutler's just going to be on a 5-7. It's not an absolutely horrendous buy from CLG. Could be better, but it could also work out really well. It's going to come down to Rick A, I think. You know, Rick A's got to get an early pick here to try and turn the tides and give them a little bit of a leg up in the round.
Still slower opener here from the Renegades, and this time kind of avoiding mid a bit more, as if they keep repeating that, and eventually CLG is going to find a way to just counter that right back out. However, after some delay, it is still looking like Renegades are once more going to try to go for heavy top mid control. At the moment, only one player pushing into it, however, the other three do kind of fade away from this push-up and end up pushing their way into the back B halls. They're even going to be grouped up with Azure in a second, so possible all-in play towards the B bomb site, and it would work out too, as currently only Kusta sits in there to defend it. They do have Ricky available, but he's way over on Cat watching mid, so he does have to kind of spin around real quick and try to help out. By the time he actually gets in a position to do that, because he's in ladder room, Kusta may very well end up dead. So we'll see how well Kusta's able to hold this back off. Dinks one player, but goes down. Ricky is able to respond, however, picking up actually the first frag here against Nexa, and I'm looking for more, restricting them into the apartments all this time here. Nobody actually wants to push back out, and when they do, he legs one of them. So he's doing some great damage right now. Tries to go for a second, but this time they make it past the threshold unscathed. JKS will get up to the site, and finally Ricky goes down at the hands of Nifty.
Felt like Nifty was, or Rick A was there for an eternity, waiting for some help from his team. He did so much damage to Azza and Ustillo, putting them both below 20. But now it's just the Rifles who have to close things out here. It's going to be FNS to drop the first tagged up player in Azza. They're still moving in, but they're very tentative in this take, and they're taking their sweet time as well. Losing bodies, and now it's down to just FNS. He's alone, and they know where he's coming from as well, and he's just got too many angles to clear. As much as the rifle work, or the op work from Rick A was really nice early on, it's Nifty who tips his cap there at the end with a 4K from his AWP, and that should be the breaking point here for CLG. It should be a save coming out, so Renegades have found themselves a third and likely fourth to follow before CLG can buy up and strike back.
Yeah, Nifty just giving him way too much room to work in that round. It seems like with a 4K overall, the first kill or two that he manages to pick up, obviously under pressure, but then after that, it's just free reign for him. They just go off on members of CLG, so that is going to break them, put them down on just upgraded pistols, and, well, they're not really changing up their game plan too much, except for this little bit of aggression here on Underpass. Azure finding both of those kills, though, without a single issue. Doesn't even take any damage at all. Finesse still trying to push in through the apartments as well to look for revenge against Azure, but at the moment, it's just not working out. He even gets tagged for a third of his health, falling back. So easy control for the Renegades, and you should now expect that this is going down to a 5v3, that the Renegades will indeed tie this up 4-4.
Finesse moving up catwalk with the deagle. Nice shot on the first one. Ustillo gets clotheslined by the bullet, but the two remaining players for CLG are across the map from the play, so they really don't have anything they can do about this. Just P250s here, hoping to catch a lurker, maybe find a gun. It's not going to happen, though. Once Kusa gets to the bottom of the ramp, they realize, hey, there's nobody here. And the bomb planted in just a moment will force CLG to make a decision. Do we save our P250s? Do they really hold that much value? At this point, there's not much you can do. You can just kind of hang back and hope you catch someone trying to retreat off the site. Maybe they think you found that last gun. Who knows? But it's not going to be the case as of yet, as Kusta's still moving in from T-spawn into the TV room. Wanted to catch up on some of the boob tube. Rick A in the A site finally peeks out, sees him on catwalk. They're watching the gun. There's no way they're going to be able to get to it.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said before, a very handily won round by the Renegades here. And since they started winning, they've been winning with some clean strides, with a few exceptions here, especially on this round. So managing to push through it, and like with the exception of Ustillo, everyone does escape the round alive and well, so that is going to start to build up that cash flow a little bit more here. Not an amazing amount just yet, but if this goes on for any longer, that's when things get a little bit dangerous. Another pause being called. This one I'm going to assume is tactical now, since CLG has kind of lost their way. It's been a nice little streak working its way out for the Renegades, and after we saw the first gun round won by CLG afterwards, it has been all struggles for them. So they do need to find a better strat to utilize on the CT side within those gun rounds.
They do have money here to buy, and they know the pressure behind them at this point. They can't really give too much with what's left in the rounds here. If they give up too much room to Renegades, things could spiral out of control. 4 rounds already is not like amazing, but it's a great start for Renegades. Just a few more, and they hit, kind of standard performance on the map. So I don't know if that was tactical yet, but if it was, I guess you could find some merit for it. I still think it's a little bit early. Most North American teams wait until they've lost about 6 or 7 rounds in a row before they call for a tactical. If they call for a tactical, some teams just forget they even have timeouts. Probably a technical issue, but the buy-in does come in, and it's going to be 5 rifles for CLG. No op in play for them. The op in the hands of Nifty has done decent work thus far for the Outlaws of Renegades. He's sitting at top mid, waiting for a push to come through. Rikke is in position, playing just underneath the smoke, and he's got a great angle for these two, but it doesn't matter. Nifty hits a beautiful shot. Rikke didn't even tag up Ustillo. It was actually Cutler and Kusa who did a bulk of the damage. The molly behind the boxes doesn't actually pull Nifty out of position, but he has to play on the edge, and he's taken some damage through the corner of the box. Meanwhile, though, Azza has picked off one more, and that's the A site completely in control of Renegades. If Kusa can get out of here, it's a save, as these two players are kind of disconnected from the play, and they don't have a kit. They don't really have an opportunity. They'd love to get that op and just hold on to it if possible.
I don't even think Ethan realized the first player. Ooh, that's a big mistake as well. Kusta goes back down. I'm unsure as to why exactly he went back down. There was an M4 on the ground, but considering he picked up the op, I would assume he would have wanted to stick with that for the save. Cutler, though, nice hold, picks up the 2 kills, and actually, if there was a little bit more time, he might have been able to go into the site and make an attempt at this now, but I think time's a little bit too low. Doesn't even have a kit either, so not going to make that happen, and does still have to sit back and save. Op should be on the ground a little bit further down the path there for him to be able to retrieve the op. But yeah, Kusta, a little bit weird that he goes back down there and just kind of sits there. I don't know if he was contemplating going back to the M4 or something like that, but just ends up getting pushed on by the window player, taken out. The real big thing, though, that actually sold that round to the Renegades is the fact that Ethan didn't really seem aware that the first player pushing out a palace even got out that quickly. So he just is able to get himself behind Firebox relatively easily, and as soon as Ethan peeks, he's a dead man, and doesn't even seem ready to react to that.
Azza having a great game right now. Was it Azza at the beginning of the season that had that dud game on Cobble in their start to ESL Pro League? He had like 1 kill at half. One of the guys from this team did. I just don't remember if it was him. But if it was, what a turnaround. He's, obviously he was a strong performer for the likes of Renegades before that, but if I remember correctly, he started out early in spring with a bit of a rough patch.
Pretty much everyone in the Renegades was looking pretty bad at the beginning of like this season of play. So they had to kind of regroup after the few roster changes, and now they're looking a little bit better. Definitely still some work to do, but they're looking way better than they were at the start of the season.
I mean, looking at the roster changes, it's not like a crazy roster change. We'll talk about that in a second, though. Ethan's right around the corner with a CZ75. A nice headshot onto Azza, but an immediate response by the Serbian player who's joined forces with Renegades more recently, and he's off to a great start himself as well. It's still a man advantage here for CLG with the bomb moving its way into A, but limited firepower and resources prevents them from really being able to do much about it. Oh, Rick gets there just as the bomb goes down, but at least it gives them a two-man advantage to try and go for this one. The problem is they only have one kit. It's on Cutler. They got to make sure that one at least gets close to the bomb in the event that the retake is successful, because they're going to need to take their time to try and flush these players out of position, and without utility, it's going to be so much harder for them to do it. Ustilo peeks wide, and there you go, just like that. 1-2. JKS and Ustilo both go down, and it will be a defuse coming in for CLG, so the split buy works out successfully. Now, looking at like Renegades, it's not like the changes they made were insane. Like, they didn't bring in these crazy players. They brought in 2 Americans at first, a Nifty and Uber, and then swapped Uber out for Nexa. Those are not like names where I'm like, wow, these guys are really good. Like, Nifty at one point in time was a really young, promising player back when he played on Astral Authority when he first transferred over from Call of Duty. But then his career kind of flatlined. And Nexa, I mean, he's a Serbian player. Serbia has a couple of decent, like, lower-level teams, but they're not known for breeding CSGO talent. But it's just worked out pretty nicely for Renegades. It seems like it's just a decent fit.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird that we saw that change go by the way of Renegades. I think everyone was kind of taken aback when we saw that one, as it sort of seemed like a downgrade at first, but then the reasons made more sense. Again, we can just continue the roster discussion in a moment. However, we're back into the battle here, and Ustilo trying to push his way back in. Does swing this into the way of the Renegades. Was looking like CLG would be able to hold themselves off for a few moments there, but it goes back the other way, and now this is in a 3v3, now 3v2, back under CLG's control for right now, but that could still very well change. Azur trying to sneak his way in, does get flashed into the corner, and he does have a little presence back over here from inside the jungle. That's where FNS is going to strike, taking out Azur, leaving just Ustilo in the mix now for a 1v3. However, only has to deal with one player currently within that site, and I believe he already knows where he is. Ethan was being pretty loud before, so he may have a general idea about where he's playing from. It's no longer just a 1v1, though, as FNS has rotated over to the ticket booth, and is going to be waiting for Ustilo to push back in.
I mean, Ustilo did create the only avenue of attack here for Renegades early in the round. He ducked his way through the smoke in connector to stay below it so you wouldn't see his head over top, and killed the player who was on the other side as the other CT went through down to the bottom of mid. Spun back around and managed to get both players in that position, but they're the only kills thus far for Renegades. Oh, Ustilo gets caught pulling out a molly, but now he's got FNS stitched into a corner. Doesn't matter. FNS hits him with the drive-by as he taps away with the AK. It will be a 6th round for Renegades, or for CLG for that matter, as Renegades find themselves back down to no money, and likely either a split force or just pistols coming out.
Well, that will lead back into CLG, still holding control of the map for right now, however, as Renegades do end up back down on a pretty lax buy. So we'll see if they just try to group up. They're still trying to play into more of a default strat. They've got a decent amount of smoke, so they can spread up a little bit if they want to here. But it is looking like pretty much everyone is going to play together, except for the bomb, interestingly enough. Everybody is going to play pretty much together over here towards the T-ramp. And Ethan, oh, this is dangerous, man. Playing up this close on a save round. We'll have to see how well he fares. The smoke should be fading relatively soon, and I think they're going to time that out with their own smokes to move back in. Thankfully, Ethan's got a molly, so he gets 1-2. Finally taken down on the 3rd player, but Kusta's there covering it. So the last 2 now alive are going to have a pretty rough time getting in. Cutler a little greedy going out into the open in that kind of shooting gallery there. Leaves him dead on the ground, that only knocks off about 2/3 of JKS's HP to show for it. So it's just going to send Nifty and JKS back. I imagine I tried swinging the direction, but CLG not going to be worried about that too much just yet.
So again, it's down to a man disadvantage here for Renegades as they try and pull this bomb off and head towards B. That nade leading them their way in. The flashes not really helping them too much as it is FNS back behind the van. FNS actually goes down early. You would have thought 2 kills, easy peasy, but JKS was in position with the Tech 9. Unfortunately for him, as the bomb goes down, so does the molly at his feet, and he just can't get away in time. So it will be an easy closeout for the remaining 2 players for CLG. Pretty decent damage dealt in the round by Renegades. All things considered, dropping 3 players. But one of the players they dropped in Ethan and FNS as well. Both had decent cash coming into that, so they're not hurting too much after the buy-up. Ethan had 9K, and FNS is on 7,400.
Still, though, three kills in that last round is a little bit more than I think anyone would have expected, considering the buy that the Renegades did bring to the table there. So that's definitely going to be way more costly than it should have been, especially since a few players may have been a little bit greedy to try and shut the round out, in a faster fashion, but just ended up costing them more and more players there. So it has brought their money down overall just a tad more. Renegades still kind of just slow playing this and splitting up, however. For the most part, this has been kind of hit or miss, so we'll have to wait and see how exactly this goes for them, as they are just kind of sitting back, waiting and playing for picks right now, not trying to make any moves or take control within these first couple of seconds.
Ricky in the B site, watching the ever-vigilant eye alone on B. Kusta's up on top of the brick boxes, trying to peek lower mid. There is one player there in Azza that might not expect a player to be up on high like this. As he's got this AK in hand, it should be a free shot for Kusta as long as he spots him first, and there it is. Just like we said, Kusta catches Azza looking the other direction, never sees it coming, blindsided by the bullet. Cutler pushed up aggressively on ramp with Ethan, but Ethan's gone down, so now it's up to Cutler to try and defend this A site, and he looks like he wants to go a little bit further out, and that's a big kill because he's dropped the bomb away from play. The remaining players for Renegades are so far away from that bomb, and there's only one of them left anyway. It's Nifty, the North American player, filling in for Renegades, joining the roster more recently, but no success for him today, as it is CLG now pushing forward with this scoreline in their favor. It looked like for a minute we were going to see Renegades really bring this one back, but now that CLG has regained control, they've also taken control of the money, and they've put Renegades back down to another pistol round. 5
rounds is still not a bad half, though. Renegades have been really good at
not at all.
Getting like mid control and then transferring it into the sites. Usually, a lot of teams sort of like at mid to mid high level at NA really struggle for whatever reason with getting out of mid Mirage and into a site with it. They just get destroyed every single time. But Renegades is actually doing really well with that right now. It's just I think coming down to a lot of these like clutch situations and the fact that they, in my opinion, don't play towards mid enough. They kind of went away from it after their first 2 rounds. They try to play the more direct takes, which were also working for quite a few rounds, but they never really went back to trying to play towards mid more. So it's been kind of unfortunate because I feel like they could have gotten more rounds if they tried to play into it a tad more. These rounds are a bit of an exception though, because again they're just on deagles, so you're not expecting them to really upset in that potential. Already 2 kills by the way of CLG.
Here come the Tech 9s, firing away in connector, but it's just one. Ustillo is out there alone. Nifty's like, oh, sorry bud, I'm still watching mid window with this deagle. So again, the 2 remaining players for Renegades disconnected a bit, and the smoke's going to go down on ramp. JKS looks like he wants to go past it. He sends a shot towards Kusta just off the mark as Kusta escapes behind the box. There's Nifty, though, getting a kill off his deagle. I have to say, when Nifty first started playing CS, that was one of the most impressive aspects of his play was his deagle work. And he shows it there as well, but it's still CLG to capitalize on the round. 9 compared to 5, as it looks like they want to try and grab that 10th one, and they're going to go with the double op setup here for Ricky and Kusta. Yet again, we see it come out. Just 1 for Renegades. It'll be Nifty holding it.
Well, into the 15th round we will go. 5v5, full-on buys for both teams here. Full utility, too. Renegades is going to be slightly lax, but it's pretty much... It's like 1 or 2 while he's missing, so it's nothing huge. Ricky, almost finds himself dead. Falls back at just the right time, though. The flashbang was perfectly positioned, so nicely done by Azza there. CTs are going to have to deploy one of their mollies to try and hold this off, since Ricky can no longer sit up on top and play for intel. So right now, it just becomes a bit of a patient waiting game to see if JKS and any of those other players are going to try to move through. And JKS does indeed push through the palace a little bit here, finding his first kill against Ethan, who tries to aggressively push into the palace, but meets his end. So it gives early advantage to the Renegades. And now, like I said before, they're going back to that mid control. So this actually looks really good right now for the Renegades to try and close out this last round.
Going to send Azza up into the window as well to go for a bit of a split play towards this A site if possible. Still, though, working towards B a bit. So Azza is just there kind of as the lurking presence in the window. JKS still hanging around in Palace. They know he's here as he's picked up a kill early on. That would have been Ethan who got aggressive in that area. So right now the bomb's still positioned in B apps. Ricky on catwalk and FNS in the B site, responsible for trying to hold this one down. But down goes Ricky, and that puts all the pressure on FNS. Meanwhile, they've also lost a player on A. FNS peeks out wide, gets a kill on Ustillo, who's coming in from catwalk, repositions towards empty pillar, but meets his demise by way of Nifty's op. That op we've profiled more than once here. as it is Renegades getting 6 rounds on their T side. So all in all, not a bad half for Renegades, all things considered. CLG started to make it better for themselves, but in the end, we settle at a scoreline that makes sense if you watch the round trading going down early on.
Yeah, 9-6, definitely still really a great scoreline for both teams, in all honesty. I imagine CLG probably would have wanted a few more to prevent that big streak that we saw in the middle of the half from the Renegades. But like I was saying before, when we did see the Renegades kind of slumping a bit towards the end, it was that mid control that was really crucial. And we finally saw that coming back into play on the last round. They were really good at not only getting it, mainly because CLG primarily just because CLG didn't really contest mid all that much, to be completely honest. Even towards like Connector and Cat, I think they had a player peeking out towards Window Room a few times, but they really never played towards those areas of the map. So they kind of just let the Renegades walk up and take it for a large portion of it. And then the only hotspot besides that was actually transferring it into the sites. And even there, entry power was really good, moving out through both Cat and Connector. So they were able to take sites pretty cleanly a lot of the time because of that.
I mean, CLG's success was largely associated with the fact that they broke Renegades' money. So they got a couple of eco rounds out of Renegades right in the middle. So for the most part, Renegades looked really good on their T side. Like you said, a lot of mid control for them. Didn't really seem too hotly contested by CLG. But now we're just waiting for these two teams to ready up. And the second half will begin. 9-6, yeah, it's not bad for either team. Like CLG could have been way worse with the way things were going in the middle there. I thought for sure we were going to see Renegades potentially with 9 rounds because they were looking really good compared to CLG, who was falling apart round in, round out.
Well, now we're jumping into the second half here. The Renegades still floating behind, but with a pistol round, they could find themselves right back into a tied situation. On live with it, so let's take a look and see how CLG will fare. Now on their own T side, and jumping right into it. Pretty usual buys for the pistol round. No one going for anything crazy here. The usual support player is going to be FNS. Everyone else picking up armor. Then Nexa is the kit along with smoke pickup. Again, it's pretty much the same story for the other 4. Everybody buying up armor. So just nice slow play. It looks like from CLG is going to be deployed here on the pistol round. Everyone holding back at this wall. 3 of them, I should say, holding back at this wall over here towards mid. And this could be great, because look, Nifty's moving in. He's curious. He's trying to investigate, but he's going to find himself dead so quickly when he finally pushes past the threshold.
So his investigation ends, but at least he's got some intel. I mean, he knows what's happening right now. 3 players sitting towards top mid. The other players for the team, again, just one on A. FNS lurking alone. The rest from CLG now grouping up in apartments, working their way towards underpass stairs. They've still got Azza on catwalk, and Ustillo sends one shot out very early as he sees the leg, just fires 1 round off, repositions, and now he's going to go back. He sees them as they move towards him. Multiple bodies heading in his direction. He's got to be careful to get out of there. Azza's providing support from catwalk. Ustillo now has a crossfire with him, but they've lost Ustillo. That was Cutler who took him down. Azza now going to get 1 more kill onto Cutler. Kusta trading out for Nexa. It's a 2-on-2. As CLG try to get control of this A site, JKS is still back behind the boxes, and just like that, 1-2, Azza and JKS fall to Kusta. It will be a round for CLG as they manage to get into that A site with the pistols, and now they can try and extend that lead a bit further.
Kusta again strutting his stuff on pistols, and he leads the charge for CLG entering into the second half, currently leading the team at frags as well at 19-8. Next players behind are Finesse and Cutler, and Finesse himself has had a little bit of a resurgence as of the last season or two, as we saw CLG kind of coming back into the fold really impressively, even at Star Ladder. He's definitely become a somewhat capable fragger, as well as a new leader here for CLG. So jumping into the second round now, the Renegades do try to force into it to the best of their ability, and it includes an ump as well. Azur's going to be able to pick that up. Besides that, though, it is just your usual upgraded pistols and armor buys for pretty much the whole team.
Nifty already taking damage here with that Deagle as he tried to peek mid-window. He's putting shots down onto Cutler, but they're not connecting. No damage. Trying to get into that B site, and they're going to realize pretty soon, hey, there's nobody here. Nifty has rotated over to try and do something to stop this, but once the bullets start to connect, Aim Punch takes over. And it should be just a free site here. At this point, once the bomb goes down, it's a save for Renegades. There's no reason for them to go for this setup for exits. You're never going to get there, and that's exactly what they do. You can see across the map, 3 players pushing a ramp, and then Ustillo is just sitting in CT spawn, hoping to find an exit frag on a player who's exiting from the B bomb site through market.
Well, we can take a look now, and Azur's kind of leading the way for himself and the rest of his teammates as they do attempt to fall out and save. It looks like Ustillo is sticking around in CT spawn, though, to possibly hunt down 1 or 2 additional kills, if at all possible, but it's just not leading his way. Everyone seems to be magnetically avoiding him, unfortunately, so he more than likely will come out empty here. depending on the path he takes. But hold on a second. May have a chance at this one yet. Moves in, finds Ethan. He does lose that opportunity and also misses Ricky as he wraps back around. So focusing a little bit more on self-preservation. He does make it out of the round, but does not gain any additional kills here. So they'll just have that ump along with the remaining upgraded pistols on everyone except for Nifty.
Still have a lot of firepower here, and it's possible that CLG will get overwhelmed by these pistols if they gamble correctly this time. Stacked heavy towards A last time, with most of the players from Renegades just kind of positioned in that area. Only Nifty was playing window and kind of floating back towards B. Now they play a more traditional offense. They're actually going to, or defense for that matter, they're going to send Azza into the underpass early on. He gets the kill onto his former teammate Ricky, but doesn't really get much for it. He's got control of the B apartments area. Nice pop flash. No, it's actually a little bit too shallow. Yeah, it went a little bit further. That would have been a great one thrown at Ethan, but even still, he was behind the TV. Not sure he would have been blinded too much. So he goes down to 5 HP. Still manages to hold on for one more. Ethan finally finishes what he started, but it's a man advantage here for Renegades as they've cut CLG down to just 3 very early on in the round due to aggression by Azza with his ump.
Well, now CLG just trying to slowly kind of creep their way forward over towards B now after they've lost the man advantage. So this is going to be a little bit trickier for them. But still very directly pushing into it after some delay. And goodbye, Nifty. Thinks he's safe hiding behind the bench position. That is going to be wrong. Evening it back out and now gaining their advantage back once more with Ethan moving forward to eliminate JKS back inside of the apartments there. Just 2 remaining. Both Ustilo and Nexa will try to retake or at least hold off here from inside of the market. I think they're probably just going to sit here. If they can't get another kill from inside, they probably won't go for this since some of them still have armor, but now that it's just down to Ustilo, and they're going to be buying on the next round anyway, we might as well just make an attempt at this and try to get a few exits anyway. Just hugs the corner, waits this one out, and now is going to try to sneak into the open. There's plenty of guns on the ground, too, that he could also try to retrieve, so that's another option for him. Moves in, has the angle to take down Kusta, but Kusta cannot be stopped right now. Another double kill in the round for him. And that'll push CLG up to 12, doubling the scoreline for the Renegades, and leaving them in good strides to start off as we do finally jump into the gun round.
Kusta now peaking at 21 kills, a fantastic performance from him in this first half. His counterpart, Azza, is sitting at 19 himself. But for the most part, Kusta has been consistently winning fights against the Renegades roster. It does look like it's going to be an A-heavy attack right now for CLG as they dedicate themselves to that area. Not a single person even feeling out mid or B. So they're set for a standard A execute with 3 players towards A ramp, ready to throw the smokes, 2 coming in from Palace. And it looks like they're just calling for the timing at this point. Smokes are out, flashes are in. Here comes the push from CLG. Ricky is the first one into position. Yeah, can't think at all. The take is happening so fast, though. Ethan is going to get that first one before he goes down. Nifty and JKS both combining for frags. Ricky finishing one off, coming in from the Palace. Take over. My brain is totally melted here. I can't think.
Well, now it is down to a 3-on-3 with CLG having slight control. The problem is, though, is that some of their players are low and they're not in the best positions. Specifically, Kusta stuck in a really peculiar corner. Probably gonna... No, he actually gets another kill. But Azar quickly trades that back out, to be expected, considering the situation that was there. But still, a huge pickup, as now it's kept it even. You still have both the remaining Ts really far back. That's a great smoke from the CTs, though. Does isolate Cutler, keeping him out of the fight for right now, unless he wants to try and risk it. So, Ricky needs to try and get himself into the fray, but it does work out for him. Both Ricky and Cutler pick up kills at the end of the round, and that's a big win for CLG, pushing them up to 13, and now forcing Renegades onto yet another eco round.
So, I had to expel some gases from my belly mid-sentence. And I'm trying so hard to focus on not doing that into my microphone that I couldn't even form sentences. It's not a good time for me to be talking. But a good round for CLG as they've managed to push themselves to 13. And again, they've done what they've done time and time again in this first map. They've broken the cash flow for Renegades and brought them back down to pistols. So it could be CLG within closing distance of that final 16th round here, as it's just an eco standing before them. And again, marching towards the A bomb site. Or this time, instead of 3 players moving in from ramp, it's going to be 3 from Palace. There's a decent setup here on this A site with 3 players, but they had pushed 2 towards connector a little bit further out. Kusta, my lord. He's going to pick off Nifty. Ethan also getting a kill onto Ustilo. Ricky spams away at Nexa behind the boxes, finishing off what FNS started. Ethan gets 1 more on the round, and Azza's left back behind the smokes in connector with a CZ75 in his hand, trembling, waiting for the first player from CLG to come around the corner.
Well, now it's going to leave just Azar up and alive here. And like we said before, really nothing that he can do besides just wait out and hope that he can catch a few players close up to him. But CLG are not moving at all. I think Ethan even has an inkling that he's sitting in there too. Ricky just trying to make sure he didn't try to lurk over towards the window room or anything like that. But still moving up to it. Actually, no, they don't. He's gonna be quiet for right now. Picks up the first kill, gets the second one as well. And now trying to move out for a little bit more here. Nade gonna miss completely, but he's still stuck in this corner. Nothing else he can do. The 2 kills are nice, but it doesn't really mean that much, as Kus is gonna take him down, and they have plenty of money to rebuy into it. Gun round coming up though, so those rebuys could be a little bit more important if Renegades can clean sweep CLG here and knock them out.
Like we said, if they were gonna do it, it was gonna have to be this first map. The map totally plays to CLG in the second. Overpass is not a strong map for Renegades whatsoever. I think they've played it 4 times in like the last 6 months. So it kind of shows you, if you look at their vetoes, that and Inferno are the 2 most commonly vetoed maps by the team. They need to fire back. They need to find something here, and that might be it. JKS and Ustillo get aggressive on A ramp and completely obliterate the attack from CLG. It's Ricky and Ethan wondering what happened to the rest of their team, as yet again CLG went for a play towards the A bomb site, and this time around Renegades is not going to sit back and try and play defense. They're going to go on the assault themselves. So we've got Ethan in the palace area behind the smoke, and then we've got Ricky who's joining him now. Both players trying to do something with the round. Maybe get a bomb plant out of this if they're lucky.
Yeah, both him and Ethan are going to be trying to push their way outside of Palace, but there's still so many defenses set up here by the Renegades. JK specifically is looking right towards them. He can hear most of this too. He's definitely saw those nades being tossed back out and should know for sure that the second guy is also up there. Yeah, they make quick work of those last 2 players pushing in. 2 of them surviving with 1 HP as well. But no one goes down, and that's exactly what the Renegades needed if they were going to have any chance at all to get back into this game. Now, this is where those few deaths and those 2 rounds back matter a little bit more. It is going to cause the breakage of the CLG a little bit quicker. They buy in one more time, but after this, they should be fully broken.
But they've got that AWP. Never count them out with the AWP in Kusta's hands. At the same point in time, Nifty was pivotal in the few rounds that Renegades was able to get, as his AWP was often really strong for Renegades. We'll see if that's going to be the case here. He throws the smoke down at bottom of connector, tries to use it to peek underpass, gets spotted on his retreat, gets tagged up as well as he hides back behind it. The shot is off the mark as they get one back behind the boxes to join the other 2 who were already in position. So again, we see mid control from the T side, exactly what we saw from Renegades in that first half. Nifty sitting at the top of connector with his AWP. He's got players in position to try and help him if they go that way. But a nice smoke from CLG to smoke off the top of connector. And that'll give them a little bit more room to work with here in mid. Asa trying to hide behind the edge of the smoke. Ricky spots him. He's not going to be fooled by that. So a man advantage here for CLG as we tick down to the 1 minute mark.
Trying to take a page out of Renegades' book right now as they do go for the mid-control play, something that CLG we haven't seen a whole lot from them just yet. Still aggressive over here at the ramp, though, eliminates Ethan and kills that angle of attack. So now CLG are limited to just middle currently. They also have to go back to get the bomb, so plans are still in the making, but at the moment, my eye's leaning a little bit more heavily towards A, but could really swing either direction still, so we kind of have to wait this one out and see how CLG wants to play it. B would be the smarter choice. While they are rotating Nifty over at the moment, it is just Nexa behind bench trying to defend it. He could be very easily boxed out, as you saw right there. And immediately when he peeks out to the left side, Kusta gets the kill. They know the Opper's sitting inside of Market. They may not know it's specifically the Opper just yet, but regardless, Mollies are going to nearly burn him alive. He's going to be careful to make sure that this is spread one more time. I think he's good, though. 9 HP. He'll make it out of that Molly alive for right now. And his teammates don't want any piece of that. So Nifty, along with Ustillo and JKS, all going to fall back to save and let CLG go up to map point.
They'll be able to drop guns here for the remaining players if necessary. JKS will have enough cash to throw down an M4. And Ustillo, yeah, he'll be around the same mark as well. He'll be able to drop an M4 for Nexa. So this is a good move here from Renegades. You really can't just throw these guns away. Got to try and fight for overtime at this point, which means they're going to need to win 8 straight rounds, which honestly, based on what we've seen just far from Renegades, I don't know how realistic that is. But we've seen teams struggle to close things out in the past, especially North American teams. Something about that 14th and 15th round, once they hit it, they just melt down and completely fall apart. But CLG has had control for quite some time at this point, really looking solid on the first map. This is their map selection, so this was Renegades map selection, so this is a great start for CLG right now. You got to be looking at that second map like dessert, because you're realizing that you just finished your main course, and we knew coming into the series that Overpass was not going to be good for Renegades. So this first this first map was really their opportunity, and they start off so weak. It's got to be frustrating if you're Renegades, but here comes the push potentially towards B. We've got so many players from CLG grouped up in this area, but they got to be careful. Nex has already pushed up aggressively, and he may have spotted something. He realizes there could be blood in the water ahead of him.
So CLG sitting here back and kind of giving up on the initial plan to stack up there inside of the back B halls. Now they're going for just your typical mid-control play, as they are going to send 2, potentially 3 through the underpass, depending on the route that FNS takes, and 2 more. Already taking control of top mid. It's pretty light, actually, for the Renegades side of this. They don't put a whole lot of defense focus on it. In fact, they had Azure already all the way back on B, completely ignorant of Cat. So this does let CLG in relatively conflict-free. Connector is going to be a little bit more of a struggle, but this smoke is imperfect, actually. I think Kusta can slightly weigh it if you still peeks in wide enough, and Kusta is checking towards it there. I think there is a small angle where he might be able to spot through it, or at least catch the outline of his opponent, be able to execute. Meantime, though, we did see Ethan get boosted inside of the window, so he's already got full control here, and they are lining up to execute in a second, and they will need to do this soon as time is getting low.
Gotta be careful if you're CLG. Can't exhaust that clock too far. Put yourself in a position where can't clear things out on the take. Nice flash coming in as it allows Azza to peek up from Catwalk. They look the other direction, expecting a peek from the other side of the map. But just like that, Ethan and Ricky bring it right back around. Nexus in the sight, but down he goes. It's a 4-on-2. This could be the end of the game here, as Ethan has a great backstab play coming in from the vent. However, the vent isn't broken, so we'd have to blow up his spot if he wanted to go for it. He can still hold here and wait for a player to come in from CT spawn, and that's what he'll do. Catches JKS, and just like that, CLG close out the first map with style, as Renegades really couldn't get anything going on their map selection. And now we move over to Overpass, which should be interesting.
It was a decent T-side from the Renegades. It's just they didn't really seem to take advantage on the stuff that was working for them enough, in my opinion. So they only ended up with, like, I think it was 6 rounds, right, that they had at half. So then jumping over to CT side just didn't really carry any of that momentum over. So they end up dropping it to CLG at the end of the day. So that is going to put CLG up 1-0. And as Bach already mentioned, second map is going to be Overpass. That'll be coming up in just a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. So stick with us. And as soon as the players are ready, we're bringing that to you.
New York, New York! So good they named it twice. This tournament has been nothing short of amazing.
So many storylines and so much to talk about. It is going to be unreal. He's going to throw the AWP. Oh my god! Simple!
And another one from Simple. No! What is this? Ball planted, AWP picked up. A lovely shot. Is that a Guardian? And oh my god! Just Snacks. Oh, no. Let's not leave him out of this. The Big Apple and Snacks is hungry. He's got 1 kill already on the USP. He dances back and forth between the box. What a shot on Simple! Oh, Guardian, bye-bye! And it's on to Flamey. He's tapped it. Flamey's got a big... What in God's name is that from Snacks? He's picked up an AK as well, and he's electing to stay with the pistol. Simple, he's up to the 3rd, and the AK pulled out! Oh my god, Simple! Flamey's on it, you called it! They're on the defuse! It's a championship inside smoke! Navi!
ESL 1 is coming back to New York City in 2017, September 16th to the 17th. Get your tickets now at ESL1.com.
Counter-Strike is sharing incredible moments with us and will return to a memorable place. Get your tickets now at proleague.com/Dallas.
is inching its way through time as we are walking this dangerous line, and I am watching this world unfold as they are doing just what they're told. I'm left to nowhere, no place to hide, out in the open, like ashes in the sky. I quit the illusion. Built an empire of sound as the bridges were falling down. In the midst of endless time, we have built along this line. Built an empire of sound as the sun was coming down, falling deeper in this dream as we failed to find.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for more action here from the North American Closed Qualifiers for ESL 1 Cologne 2017. We are into the semifinals now, and our first matchup just completed its first map back over on Mirage. CLG took it quite handily, and now we go to Overpass. The Renegades have their last chance to stay alive. If they get knocked out here, they will be out of the running, and it'll be CLG that push forward into the finals. Bach is still with me, and once again, we are going live immediately with the pistol round, so Bach, take it away.
Will be CLG starting on the T side, as this is their selection. No knife rounds here. That's why the teams are killing themselves in console, in case you're curious. And it looks like early on they're going to be moving towards the stairs, where Nifty is positioned to try and watch the cross. No damage dealt, but at least he knows what to expect in the round. He's going to fall back, and he has support coming. It's going to be Azza who's moving into this A-bomb site as well, backed by the APC. So they're going to have to play a little bit more passively, as it is Counter Logic Gaming moving up long A, leaping past the planters. They're just dedicating themselves to this one. As it peeks out, he's got a multitude of players in front of him, but he can't connect with any of them at all, despite the fact that he had great positioning. He falls in the site, and now it's been compromised, but look at this. The end around here is Ethan's got the backstab on the player who's already on the stairs, and all he has to do is hold his ground. Usil is going to walk right into the crosshair. Nexa is there with the immediate trade out, but FNS and Cutler are left trying to get this one back in their favor, and Cutler will do what he can, getting a kill from the bank stairs. He's got one pushing towards him. Nifty meets his demise, and now it's just JKS who's on the hunt for Cutler, and it doesn't even matter. Cutler finishes off the 3K and a fantastic pistol round for CLG, and that's devastating if your Renegades really wanted to get things going here on your CT side.
Yeah, so CLG get themselves right off to the hot start again, carrying things over from Mirage, and they're immediately going to reinvest here into the second round. The Renegades, of course, buying in their own regard, and they pretty much just force up entirely on everyone except for Nifty there. So Deagle, CZs, and whatnot, along with the armor vibes on everyone, like I said before, except for Nifty. And we'll see how well they are able to hold it with this minimalist buy. And CLG, well, taking a look at them, they've already gone up for 1 AK on Color, but the other 4 are still working with SMGs. Fast out from long. There is going to be resistance here coming in from the CTs, but at the moment, it's not faring so well. He did manage to sneak in a kill against Cutler, but so far that's been the only one. Nifty's still alive inside of the bathroom connector, but still, he's going to be hightailing it out of here and falling back to the site in hopes of staying alive, or at the very least just holding a better position to try and impact for some kills in a few seconds.
Nifty's around the corner, hiding in the cubby, past the divider wall. FNS right around the corner, and that's the straight to the face, as FNS gets the kill in the end. Nexa and JKS looking to spill some blood here, just trying to get some money if possible. It's JKS who's behind the dice box in sight with the CZ-75. Good shooting on Dakusta, but CZ-75 betrays him in its fight against Rike. So it will be just Nexa, the Serbian player, with the Deagle in hand, and no more kills for Renegades here, as it is a 2-0 start here for CLG. Now, we've talked about how rarely we see Renegades play this. They have played it 8 times since 2015. Yikes.
Yeah, it's been, oh, excuse me. Sorry.
Like, going back to ESWC 2015, 8 times. And that's like different rosters, different players, it doesn't matter. This team, the brand of Renegades, has played this map 8 times in that long.
It has, needless to say, not been a map which they've ever really identified with. And for CLG, I mean, granted, this is with the old roster, but this is a map that they've always loved to play, especially in international events back when they had, like, Terrica on the squad. Obviously, a very, very different team nowadays, but I imagine at least some of that has carried over since they still have Vanessa at the helm once again, so the scratch at the very least is still kind of carrying over. For the most part, it's worked a lot of times, although this round, Renegades are actually getting a whole lot more done than I would have expected. Even those 2 kills is somewhat phenomenal there. But CLG still very much shut it down, and we end up 3-0 to start, as expected, after the pistol round victory. Now, the Renegades do go for their big investment, and immediately they've got the op on the board for Nifty.
That's no surprise there, going straight into the AWP and putting it in Nifty's hands. No op for CLG yet, just rocking AKs across the board, just bringing in what they brought in. Not worried about spending too much money to upgrade to that rifle, and it looks like they are going to be going deady towards B very fast as well. A lot of players already moving into the Monster Canal. No real wavering with this plan. This is the idea. We want to go towards B. We're going to go towards B. Nade in does so much damage. Jesus. Ethan and Cutler both dropped right around 50 HP. Even FNS gets tagged down low. Cutler, though, with the entry kill onto Nexa, who is playing Toxic Barrels. JKS does trade out, doing a little bit of damage on top of what Nexa had started with that nade. But look at this. The fall off. Despite the fact that they got in, they're going to just back off. I'm kind of curious what the play is here from CLG, because they got into the site, made it to the canal, and then just decided, we don't want the canal. You guys can have it back. It's yours. 1-for-1 trade that totally favors Renegades right now, as Cutler and FNS took damage on the push into that B site.
Well, after they do end up trading 1-for-1, CLG are going to swing their way up through those upper tunnels, working their way inside of the playground here to try and probably just swing out towards long. They need to start moving a little bit quicker, though. 45 seconds left, and they're still going to have a bit of a slower pace of this because of the fact they need to check, you know, like behind the tree, inside of the bathroom connector, behind the flower box, behind the APC to make sure they don't get jump spotted by Nifty, all these things, and they're not leaving themselves with a whole lot of time to be able to do that. They can't really, you know, afford to keep things hidden anymore. They just have to go for this and hope for the best in terms of an open site. Thankfully for them, Ustillo is out of the site right now, but they will still have to watch for that, and that's going to open up basically a free flank for them in these next few moments. And Nifty does not even decide to challenge it. He is going right back down and wraps over to the dumpster position instead to try and challenge it from there, and it works out perfectly. Hits the first kill, hits the second kill. No one from CLG is even trying to counter him out right now. He's getting away with murder. Ustillo up on top, and then Nifty shuts down the last player from behind, as it's absolutely flawless from the Renegades and holding that one. The only mistake they make there is letting CLG get away with the plant.
So, still such an interesting execute. You know, I understand that like they basically baited out the little bit of utility that Renegades had in that push towards B, and then rededicated themselves towards A. They could have just stayed B. There's no reason why they have to run all the way back towards A. In fact, if they stay B, they don't lose as much clock rotating around the entire map. So that's the part of it that makes it interesting. It's one thing if you want to try and bait utility out and re-execute. That's understandable. But what made it interesting was the decision to traverse the entire map that round and go the longest possible route towards A, taking long A instead of going up mid-bathrooms. So CLG put themselves in a spot where they had to charge the site. They didn't really have too much time left, and they couldn't handle Nifty's position at all. He got 2 kills. It's all he really needed to do. Ustillo is still at mid-bathrooms. He rounds the bend from the dice box, and they close things out. So CLG dropped that first buy round from Renegades, but they've still got another one back behind it. That bomb plant's certainly going to help. Nice pop flash here as Ustillo is boosted up on the other end of the divider wall, but Ethan didn't see him. The rest of his team is over towards long, with the exception of Rike, who's working in from connector.
Still be a little bit more spread out here as time does get lower, but it's definitely like CLG are going to try to line up for a faster execution this time. It's just short A is going to be such a hot spot here. As you can see, they still have the boost up between Ustillo and Nifty. And CLG definitely is going to have some presence in that route here. As we can already see, the boost up works out for one. Ethan trying to trade it, but he can't hit the kills enough. It only brings Nifty down to about 35 HP. After that, everyone else on the CT side gets away scot-free. That's going to kill the long A plans, at least for right now. They're still trying to lean into it, but they no longer feel confident to peek out for this anymore. So it seems like at least for a few of these guys, they're pushed further back towards the connector, but I don't really think they have time to try and swing this back down towards B. They've got to go into the site. So really just trying to delay it for a little bit longer here. Hopefully a few of the Renegades players rotate back down, but they're seeing stalwart. Absolutely no one moving in. In fact, they're getting even more aggressive. Ustillo moving out. Finds himself another kill for his team now. Nifty strikes with the yacht. That takes down Kusta. And then Azra and Nifty close out. No one from the Renegades goes down at all. And it's another nearly flawless round for them.
At this point, if you're CLG, you're just going to be buying up pistols and trying to take something fast, potentially. Maybe just trying to overwhelm that B site. try and beat the utility to the punch, try and get there before the mollies go down. We'll see what they decide to do, though. It does look like they're leaning towards A a bit more, currently heading up and putting a lot of bodies in connector, as well as at the stairs, already moving towards fountain. Looks like they're going to maybe split towards mid. They have Ustillo backing off from that position, Nifty as well, but there's a molly down at the bottom of the stairs that kind of separates the players and prevents what was likely the intended play, a pinch on the players at mid bathrooms. So they're going to go for it anyway, but just going to do it a little bit late. Ethan does great damage initially as Ustillo gets dinked, but it doesn't matter. He sticks around and picks up 2. He's actually going to get some help from Nifty as well, also getting 2 on the op as it chimes in with the final frag. So just like that, the kills just pile up for Renegades. CLG don't really do much of anything, and it's back to AKs yet again for them.
Yeah, so back into the buy for CLG, but now we have to hope they can find a little bit more consistency, or at the very least find a faster way to entry onto the site. It's been their big issue. They've loved to run down the timer in these plays, but every time they've done it, they've just been utterly destroyed due to the Renegades having some really decent setups here. This time, it is looking like they're going a little bit more directly to set up towards B. However, it's not just straight through Monster into the site. And look, it's another boost up from them. Azure gets a double kill with it as well and makes it out alive. Still survives the encounter with 8 HP. He's going to fall back upside. That's almost the round right there. Like, he's still the 3 guys stacked at Monster, but the Renegades should be able to somewhat read into this. As you can see, everyone's falling back to the A site, and I imagine they're going to send at least 1 or 2 of those guys downstairs.
CLG, yet again, hamstrung by the aggression by Renegades, just caught off guard by the early kills that piled up for Azza from the connector. Kusta is in water. He's on the railing. It looks like he wants to boost FNS over. That's actually going to be FNS who goes on the low end of the totem pole. Kusta now getting vision into the site. It's a nice entry from Rikke, though. Kusta's still in position here on Catwalk, but Rikke's so low on HP. He's got JKS strung out behind the pole. Azza's in sight as well. He's low on HP. Oh, it's a team nade! Nifty puts one right into Azza's lap and gives the round control back to CLG. It's going to be a 3-on-2 instead of a 2-on-2 or a 3-on-3. That's brutal. And it allows CLG to get the bomb down, and the retake is significantly hurt because of it. Ustillo up on high, Nifty moving in from Graffiti. The counter utility being thrown out by the T side is perfect as it keeps Ustillo fully blind trying to work his way in, and now he's alone and he's low on HP. That nade from Nifty totally wins the round for CLG as they had no idea that Azza was still in position on the site. He could have dropped into pit and been a serious thorn in their side when it came to time to plant the bomb, but instead it's going to be CLG's round to take.
That's a round where CLG had almost no business winning out that one. Very impressive that they are able to spin that back around after the double boost up, and the kills from Azure just utterly destroy CLG at the beginning and kills their opening plans, but they somehow were able to rally it back and come out on top. So very well played from them to make that happen, and very unfortunate that Renegades have a huge slip-up that almost hands them the round on a silver platter. It's not going to break these CTs just yet, though, because thankfully the 3 rounds they did win were relatively clean. Amongst those 3 rounds, they only lost 2 players, and both were in the first round. So they still have cash flow, and even after this one, they may be able to, on a few players at the very least, go for a bit of a half buy. So they're not going to be completely knocked out of this one. They'll still keep a pretty strong economy, but now for CLG, they have a great chance to get back in and take great control of their own map. So we'll have to see if they can follow that through this time on another gun round.
Sitting back on connector right now as the nade blows up the door is going to be Nifty, watching with an eagle eye, trying to make up for that previous round. Man, you really can't overemphasize how important that team kill was, because that kill that dropped Nifty came from pit, the position that Azza was working towards. So it just shows you how things could have spiraled from that one mistake. Even if it wasn't a full misthrow, he only had 8 HP. It was just enough to tilt the tables in favor of CLG. Renegades now still working with rifles, still with the op. And they've got an op on the other end as well. It'll be Kusta. They're moving towards long A with a couple of players working in from mid as well. They've got somebody up boosted. I can't see who it is. I believe that would be Rikke? No, maybe not. It looked like someone was boosted, but Ricke's across the map. The dots on my radar are just screwed up as there's 2 dots on top of Ethan right now for whatever reason. Cutler and company grouping up on long. Azza right on the other side of the smoke in the site. There's a man mid-bathrooms. It's Ustillo, and he starts opening fire from his AK. He's now going to fall back to the truck as it appears that CLG is gearing up for the execute.
And again, leaving themselves with not a whole lot of time to actually accomplish it, so they will begin to move themselves towards it as they're ready to hold from behind the dice box, but it's only a 1-for-1 to trade it back out. Rotates so quickly, moving their way back up to the CT side, and again, another 1-for-1 trade out. Still keeps this fight even. Ethan moving through, though, picks up one, a missed stop shot, keeps him alive for a little bit longer here, and in fact, he pushes through again. Not able to kill Nifty just yet, but still holding a strong position, keeping Nifty out of the bomb site. He himself, though, low at 15 HP. Can't go past Semi any further, so he's trying to look for other options to swing in here. Hits that kill on FNS. That's a big one and follows it through to hit up on Ethan. Now just leaves Ricky alive, but he does have this planted for himself. He's going to be aggressive, though, out into the open, but he kills the Alpha immediately. Now can bail back inside of the bathroom, just barely escapes. He does not have to be this aggressive about it, but he's doing it anyway. Keeps trying to peek out, baiting out shots, keeping JKS off the defuse. He's wasted enough time now. JKS is going to try to push forward, just wants the kill, wants the bonus money from that, and he's going to succeed in getting it. Now he's going to run, though. Has to escape the bomb explosion, and he does indeed do that, so he will save the op, but the round itself is going into CLG's hand.
That little shake he was doing to the right was to put the barrel outside from the wall. So every time he turned to the right, he was trying to put the barrel out so it looked like he was going to peek. So it was good movement from Ricky to just make it look like he was going to peek. Well played, honestly. Like, that's a really tough 1-versus-1. He's so low on HP. He knows he can't bait the planner, or the defuser for that matter. So he has to do whatever he can to make him think he's going for it. So he's just so low on health that at that point he's just trying to do what he can, and he played it wonderfully. There really wasn't much that JKS could do. It was an excellent retake from Nifty. It all started with his op. I mean, just some unreal shots. It didn't look like it was going to be that easy for Renegades to get back in there, but it was because of him. Now, though, look at the aggression coming in from Renegades. Ustillo is pushed up aggressively over towards the party area. He's got some help from Long as well. That's as it goes down after picking up a kill, and so does Ustillo. So it brings us back down to a 3-on-3. So some early kills piling up, but still at even strength with 1:10 left on the round.
Some good tapping work from Ricky downstairs. In the meantime, though, he is able to catch Nexa from way back behind the chain link fence, while Nex himself was sitting back on Monster. That'll force the rotation from JKS, and he's now going to be the solo defender of this site, but he's playing passively inside a pit. Finds himself in a first successful battle against Ricky. Just 2 more to go now, as it's been evened out for a second time. Just holding, waiting to see and trying to delay this plant for as long as possible, and he's done it. But the other issue is that he has smoked himself off for his teammate to be able to spot anything over top of those smokes. So it's giving CLG a little bit of room to work with, too. And they go right past the safe plant position, trying to wrap in and box out JKS. They succeed. Now it's all down on Nifty, but Ethan walks back into that molly, so scratch that. It's down to another 1v1. 30 seconds to plant the bomb. Cutler's going to have plenty of time. There's really no worry about that. Goes to the safe plant spot, and Nifty, in the meanwhile, flanking his way down behind the CT wall. Got the op ready to go. May just take a shot at this one, but actually finds him in the open. And indeed, Nifty will shut it down, keeping this game close. We're going to go 4-5.
Not knowing where that op had moved to, he puts the smoke down, tries to back off down the ramp, but it's Nifty, again, who's there in time. It's only 1 kill on the round for Nifty, but it's all about that impact, as it's a 1-versus-1 that he clutches out, and it gives Renegades more of a fighting chance in this half. It's feeling a lot like that first half on Mirage, where we saw Renegades getting off to a great start, picking up a few rounds. And even though it settled down to a 9-6, that was a good half for Renegades, all things considered. CLG is in the same spot. Like, yeah, you know, some of these rounds aren't pretty, but they're putting them up on the board. So they're at 5. They get 1 or 2 more, even if it takes them a while to do it. At least they've gotten to that point. If they get 7 rounds, that's a really great half for Overpass. So here they're just going to be working with these pistols to go towards B as fast as they possibly can. Ethan's already made it up to the toxic barrels. The smoke goes down, sends a shot out. The player who was in the corner actually bailed. As it gets peeked through the smoke, Ethan's going to try and trade positions, and he does. Nice shot through the smoke, right to Nex's head. Can they get the bomb down? That's going to be the ultimate question. It seems like it's going to be so. Nifty's the last man standing. Just like that, CLG have gotten full control of B, and they've got the man advantage as well. Nifty, though, from Catwalk, peeks out and spots Ricky, who tries to dodge the shot. And yet again, Ricky is in another situation where he can be the clutch god for Renegades. FNS has no clue what's going on with Ricky or with Nifty's positioning, so he's got to play this one slow. He's got to try and figure this one out, and I think Nifty just spotted FNS trying to make it across.
FNS didn't see him, though. I actually don't think Nifty saw him right now. Otherwise, I feel like he'd be looking a little bit more towards down at Monster, where FNS actually crossed towards. So at the moment, FNS is winning this battle. This all essentially comes down to if Nifty checks his flank, because FNS is going to complete this in a few seconds here. As he moves up, at the moment, Nifty does check for it, but the shot's a leg, so FNS comes out on top and wins the round just barely for CLG. Oh, and the dirty teabag there, too.
1 lump or 2. My God. you know, you're watching that when you're like biting your nails, like, is he gonna get there in time? Would it have made more sense for him to then take that bomb and walk up Graffiti and go towards A? There's so many decisions like you have to make on a moment's notice in your head. FNS, you know, he plays it well. He immediately decides to back off the site and goes down towards the canal. The problem is Nifty was just an inch away from being able to spot him on the cross at that op. Still, though, it's barely around for CLG. Nifty still hit an amazing shot to even, you know, connect on FNS, who was coming in on the flank, but he got the leg. It's unfortunate. It's going to be frustrating if you're Nifty. It's going to mean an eco round here for Renegades. They do force up a bit. Nexus on the ump. CZ 75s for 2 and Deagle for Ustillo. Nifty's the only one who full saves, being as he's the opera makes perfect sense. And they've stacked B right now, which means CLG, once they realize it, they're just going to go towards A, and we'll see what Renegades decides to do if that's going to be the case.
Well, with the Renegades all stacking over towards this site at the moment, probably not going to lead into too much success. The good news is, though, is that CLG are being a little bit loud up on top, so it may give Renegades a few moments to rotate over here. At the very least, Ustillo has taken an advantage upon that, and he has spotted the short A pressure. He needs to pay attention to long, too, as that is also a factor, but he's doing good work at that, making sure he keeps himself alive and just firing off a few shots every now and again to try and delay this. Ustillo, though, swinging into the open, is going to find himself dead on the ground, and JKS, nicely done, long-range control with the CZ, and Azur has some success, too, working his way in from a flank. Eliminates Ethan, making this round, at the very least, expensive for CLG, if not outright trying to upset. The nade and Galil combo is going to eliminate Azur, though, on the flank, and it just leaves Nexa and JKS in this fight, both of which being smoked off, but JKS is now expired. He can't find the headshot. There's one. He does pick off an additional player, and now Nexa is going to swing in, only down to a 1v1 as this is going to be, but FNS, once again, master of timing with his peaks, moves in and eliminates Nexa without even giving him a chance to clutch.
CLG, remember we were saying just a few more rounds, and that's all they needed to make this a really good half. Well, they've hit that total now, 7, and because of the way they broke Renegades after that 1-round victory, only 1 player survived round 9, so they had no money after that. It's a full save here, which means CLG will very likely have an 8th round, and they're going to have the round lead at half. You can see Renegades setting up right now for a triple stack with the USP, just hoping maybe they can get a kill early on. But again, it's a full-on B stack. Rick A is here trying to just see if they're going to get aggressive, but he's not really pushing around this. He's just letting his team slowly work their way up methodically towards the A bomb site. And at this point in time, Renegades realizes they're not here yet, so they're going to be going towards A. So it's a full-on USP pain train back towards the A site, all aboard as they try to make their way in towards CT spawn, wrapping up the stairs to jump up and to bank. But even once they get here, it's going to be a very hard-fought battle to even pick up a few kills.
I mean, at the very least, they have the numbers in their favor at this point in time. But now as they move back in, we have to see them try and shut this back down. At the moment, 2 for 2 so far on both sides of this one. But Nex is going to make it a 3rd as he moves in, now upgrading himself to an AK and the bomb on the ground. So CLG have to kind of put their foot on the brakes and slow things down a little bit so they can take note and recover off of this one. A good nade from FNS, though, re-equalizes the manpower for both teams. And Ricky is just going to try to swing out towards long. This isn't as risky anymore. They do have to obviously pay attention to the fact that both these players have scouted out additional gunpowder, but they don't have armor sitting behind it, so if they end up in just an open battle, more than likely CLG are still going to end up winning. As we see, though, that could change. JKS shutting out Ricky, and now there's just FNS life. He does get one, but JKS, nice timing on his peak, does shut it down. So the Renegades, with a full save, upset against CLG, bringing the score back to a relatively even line at 5-7.
How do you recover from that one if you're CLG?
I don't know. There's no way you should lose that round.
How do you recover from that mentally? You know what? The problem is that they only went into the site initially with 2 players, so they basically were just like, here you go, here's 2, and they gave them up immediately. Yeah, they traded back, but they should have never lost those 2 players. They were just they were already kind of reserved to like, we'll just set up for the post plant now before they even took the site, knowing that it was an eco round, and that's kind of what put them in that position to begin with. Here's Nifty again, getting aggressive on short canal, pushing in water. It's 2 quick kills for him with his op. He's set up for another. As the flashbang comes in, his teammate's fully blind, running around with his hand over his eyes, trying to figure out what's going on. Molotov down as Nifty retreats. He's going to send one through the side of the wall. It actually looked like it was close there to FNS. But again, CLG at the man disadvantage, and with a little bit less firepower, they're going to fall off of B, and they're going to try and recommit somewhere else potentially.
pushed out, and well, they have found themselves a couple of upgrades to work with here. And still having full armor for the rest of the team. There is still a chance. I don't think they're actually going to change up their actual, like the way they're hitting the site, though. They're not going to try to wrap towards that or anything like that. They're still going to go straight forward, probably through Monster. Just a little bit of a delay on it to try and win out in a duel versus the player Monster, and then have that act as their entry so they can push forward. But Nexa wins another 1v1, and we'll be able to eliminate one of the 3 remaining players here from CLG. So for Cutler and Ricky, they actually do fall back, but it's not necessarily to push out of this site. JKS trying to investigate from downstairs here, as I think he heard them moving back in. Sees the headshot, but a little of a flick, and now he goes down at the hands of Cutler, bringing us into a 2v3.
But just like that, it's a 2v2, though, and Nexa and Ricky are both low. So this could be a trade-out round here. It all comes down to this bomb plant. They're able to secure it behind the boxes. Good awareness from Ricky, as he was not really covered from Catwalk, and now they know where Ustilo is working in from, and he doesn't even have a kit. He's going to have to move a little bit faster than he would like to, trying to bait these players out, trying to spam things. Cutler and Ricky are playing this beautifully, doing exactly what they need to do, just set up in positions where there's no chance for him. So just like that, CLG bring it right on back, say, hell, you want to eco us, we're going to return the favor. And even though they spent a little bit more money in the round, it's still success for CLG. They get the 8th round they should have already had, and it will be Renegades back down to pistols yet again.
Yeah, CLG responds with their own eco. Theirs makes a little bit more sense, though, as they still had at least some money invested into it. The Renegades is, with a literal $0 investment, was a little bit more in the realm of fantasy. But anyway, getting back into the next buy, Renegades are trying to preserve some cash going into the final round. So as you can see, with the exception of Nexa, everyone is just going to be on upgraded pistols behind their armor. CLG proceeding slowly, though, because of what has happened in these previous few rounds. And there's good reason behind that, too, as they have a double stack inside of the steps. Nifty already finding 1 kill as they're looking for 1, but Ricky cutting them off at the flank does find himself the double kill. And even gets a 3rd one, too. Kusta with the 4th as Ustilo tries to push out from long. It just leaves JKS alive.
The money for Renegades is awful right now. I mean, that really stings. I mean, CZ75 armor is what he's got here. His next round isn't going to look that much different. They're only going to have like 2,000 per player. At least that kill pushes him a little bit further up. But even still, look at the money, the way it stacks up. 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, 1,900, 1,950. Just a really frustrating way for that first half to end. So it could have been an 8-7 for Renegades. Could have been. But instead, we're looking at a potential 10-5 for Counterlogic Gaming. That's a huge swing. And it was already a very successful half for CLG. You gotta be frustrated moving into that second half of your Renegades.
Yeah, absolutely, especially after having the opportunity to really swing it back into a relatively even scoreline, and now having that thrown away, the best you're going to be looking at is a 9-6, potentially another 10-5 in the favor of CLG. Well, CLG just stacks outside of Monster to start off this final round on the half, and they are being a little bit cautious to sort of hold themselves back before they try to move in for an execute here, and there's good reason behind that, because they have been pushed pretty aggressively by the Renegades in the past and have met quite a bad fate because of it. But look at this flank now, working its way in from Ustilo. No one checking for this at all right now. He can just walk right up, find himself some easy kills, possibly a knife. Come on, let's see it. Don't play the safe game. I want you to take some risks. All right, never mind. He does get the nice double kill, though, and almost gets a 3rd before going down. That flank is massive. Nexa gets really aggressive pushing into it, but at the very least guarantees him another 1-for-1 trade. That's going to kill the opening plans from CLG, and now they're going to fall completely back, swinging up towards the playground.
Just 2 bodies in front of Renegades from somehow making this a 9-6. Surely this can't happen again. Back and forth these 2 teams go, trying to gain control of it. Nifty with the CC75 working just like that. It's a 9-6. All it takes is a pistol and some armor. Man, if you're Renegades, you're just looking back and you're going, maybe we should have just bought pistols. That whole half. A full eco and then a 4 spy at the end. Provide at least 6 rounds for Renegades. However, that was on the CT side of Overpass, a 10-5 map by all standards. So not a fantastic half for Renegades, but should have been way worse, all things considered. And could have been even worse had Renegades, or CLG for that matter, not fumbled a few rounds out of their grip. So 9-6, it's recoverable. I mean, it's not really that bad. If you're CLG, you're definitely happy, regardless of how that one went.
What was that? 3 ecos in the last 4 rounds or something like that?
It was 2 4 spies and an eco, yeah. A full eco. Like, I can't stress that enough. USPs. No utility, no armor, not even a kit, just USPs.
It's insane. So, That ends up being a little bit chaotic there at the end of the half, but still in the favor of CLG. However, once again, the Renegades have an easy chance to get themselves back into this map. All they have to do is win out that pistol and carry through on the next few rounds, and we have ourselves an even matchup. But if not, if CLG is the one that wins it out and they carry forward up to 12, then it's a rough path for CLG to have any chance of getting back into this game, let alone this set. More importantly, this tournament, as this is an elimination match for them. Single elim brackets. So lose one set and you are out of the running for Cologne.
This round victory would be pivotal, man, that's not a word, pivotal for Renegades to bring this one back. Tied things up at 9 apiece. I mean, we're back on the same scoreline we saw in Mirage, 9-6, right off the half. Rounds that didn't really make sense as to why they happened. And a scoreline that probably could have been better or worse also happened. But we've seen pretty good success rates for CLG on their pistol rounds. See if they're going to have success here as well. Right now it does look like Renegades is pretty keen to work towards the B-bomb site. Ooh. Ethan and Kusta doubling up the toxic barrels. I like this play. Kusta's ducked down. Ethan's kind of the bait to try and pull them in on it.
Finesse almost got a headshot at the beginning of this round too. They pushed for fast water control and he got caught jumping there. But thankfully the shots missed, and now as they move back in, as they're immediately taking down Ethan, they're still the second player to worry about though, and Kusta and FNS both pick up kills, but the Renegades are still responding with just as much heat as they do move back in here. Finesse is in a pretty bad spot. He needs to back out of here, but that's going to leave Ricky in the open to defend himself. Still holds on though as he picks up one additional kill. FNS tries to go back in, but he can't find anything. Now Cutler's here to support though. He drops in, eliminates Usilo, just leaving JKS alive in a 1v2, but he's got both the remaining CTs extremely low. One-shotable possibly for each of them as he tries to find these bullets. He does tag another one, but it's not actually the one shot I thought it was going to be. He's still alive though. He's still at 64 HP, just whittling down these CLG players one by one. There's the first kill. He's gotten a little bit lower too, but he hits that last shot, eliminates Ricky, and with that the Renegades will indeed control the second half pistol with a 1v2 clutch from JKS.
I'm pretty sure that Cutler shot Ricky in the back there. At one point, I heard a bullet come from behind and he only took a little bit of damage. I'm curious. CLG has the bomb down in pit and they're just still taking straight up aim fights with him, just hoping they can win because they're so low on HP. There's that fear that the second you go into hiding, that's when he's going to strike you. You're going to get caught. So, Ricky comes down to having 3 bullets in his gun in that 1v1. There really wasn't much you could do. JKS just played it perfectly, just using the pillar for cover, constantly taking shots with his Glock, knowing my magazine's a lot deeper than yours, so I can play this game a lot longer than you can. And he does it beautifully. Nice shooting from Rick A early on. Drops Nexa in connector. That's an ump gifted to the side of CLG. He's got to worry about going to the top of that ladder, though, as JKS is holding with an AK. Meanwhile, the rest of his team is working up long. So it's 4-on-4 right now with 1:15 left, as it does appear to be Renegades, at least for the moment, working towards long. JKS has backed off the ladder, so there's still flank potential here for Rick A. It all comes down to timing.
Indeed it will be, but at the moment, peak for FNS. He is going to find himself in the right position, hugging this corner. Now, how many kills can he get? Gets one, can't trace very well into the second one, so that's the only one he's going to be able to pick on. What's even worse, Ethan, a little bit further back, does lose a little under half of his HP, but being spotted over there on the other side of the flower box does seem to be enough, at least to hold the Renegades back for right now. JKS is a good position, though. Should be able to take out Ricky without too much conflict. And with that kill, now just leaves the remaining 2 CTs highly split up. Kusta is going to miss the wrap from at least 2 of these guys going downstairs, but he could still find Ustillo here and at least give that intel away. They are wrapping back in. They awkwardly kind of stare at each other for a moment before open firing. And with that, they do indeed pick up the kill. So that's going to sell the rotate, send Ethan barreling back down. Kusta has the AK as well, so we can definitely fight this out, but JKS not even going to give Ethan a chance to get into the fight. They immediately knock him out of the play, and it just leaves Kusta alive in a 1v2.
He doesn't have much time to work with here either, so he looked like he wanted to go up cap, but the second that molly comes down, it seals the deal for Renegades, and CLG will be content to just save this AK and bring it into the next round. So decent damage, really, by CLG to drop that many players, bring it down to just 2 here. Kusta's even going to get himself up on the ledge. It's not an easy spot to get onto, but he does. And it's going to be hard to hunt him down, especially with both players working across the map. They're not even going towards him. So he'll be able to bring the AK in. He can drop that 5-7 for somebody. We'll see if Kusta can be that linchpin on the round. However, it's pistols that have been pretty successful for the last few. Like we said, we saw, 3 straight eco rounds in that first half. not exactly, or no, it wasn't 3 straight. It was 2, pause, 1. So it was full save, force buy, and then 1 round got beaten, and then a force buy at the end that won out the last round for Renegades. So it's not out of the question to see these pistols successful here for CLG.
Well, CLG end up stacking downstairs towards B and just having Ricky defending the steps themselves with a measly little Zeus. We will see if he's able to find anyone with it, but at the moment CLG are rolling the dice on this round, and it's not looking like they're going to end up coming out on top if things stay the way they are. The Renegades still trying to slowly kind of investigate towards short A. That at the very least might give it away to Ricky and allow for a few of them to rotate up and try to put up a fight, but ultimately the round itself should still go by the way. And oh, the missed Zeus shot. That tells the death bells for Ricky there. There's not anything else he can do to defend himself. Just gets completely overwhelmed, and now that is an open path for the rest of the team to try and swing in towards A.
Kusta right now playing towards B with that AK. Not going to be in position to prevent this push. FNS will be at the dumpsters. Likely to get his corpse thrown into the dumpsters in just a moment. Just a USP by the truck. And he's got Ethan moving in from bank. Ethan just rounds the corner with that FAMAS. That was the gift brought in from the previous round. Somehow FNS finds one with his USP. So they've done good damage yet again here. Kusta's in position now behind the smoke. As a second one follows up, he might be able to find a crack in that one. Ethan's taking a lot of damage. He's falling off with that 5-7. Wants to trade positions with Kusta, who's got this AK and armor. And again, it comes down to just 2 here for the T side. JKS and Nexa looking around and wondering where the rest of their team has gone. And another kill for Kusta on the AK. The bomb is planted for JKS. They do not have a kit, but Kusta has a smoke, and he's going to throw it down right on the popular spot here. He's going to stick the bomb as well. That nade lands right on top of his head. He's praying that the pistols can stop him. Please, God, prevent him from getting too close. At this point, it doesn't matter. Kusta caps off the 3K, and there should be enough time here for the defuse. It's going to be close.
I think he's got it.
But it will be around here for CLG.
Yeah, he's got it. So there you go. CLG managed to steal that one away just before the Renegades were about to tie things up. And that, of course, allows them to keep in control. 10-8 will be the scoreline. But Renegades still had enough cash, so they are going to buy in once more. Renegade, or CLG, excuse me, though, are going to have themselves quite a big buy as they were getting ready to buy up in this next round regardless, as we see yet another eco upset rolling its way in there. CLG really had no business picking up that round. They do it again, and off of that, they're going to have themselves a whole lot more utility than they might have expected. I'm a little bit surprised they actually don't even get the op with that round being picked up there, but still had to go for quite a few rebuys regardless, so costing them a little bit more money. And the Renegades, well, they'll proceed pretty quickly to the outside of Monster. In fact, all 5 players are hanging out there. And they're going to proceed straight into the site, too. Despite the smoke and everything else, they'll try to move back in. Ethan already shutting down 1. Ricky with the second. It's an absolute slaughter. And the Renegades basically throw away a buy round.
If you're CLG, you're a little bit concerned about this round, though. The way these rounds have been going with the ecos, you got to be slightly concerned about the success rate that both teams have had. Renegades haven't spent anything yet, but I'm sure in just a moment they'll pick up a few pistols. They don't have a whole lot of cash to work with. They're actually content to work with Glocks. JKS is the only one to buy a pistol at all, and he buys a Deagle. And he's going to be out alone, solo, the Iron Man right now, working in towards water as the Molotov burns just on top. Explain that one, physics. He's managing to get past it, though, after it dissipates. He's just looking for the head peek from up on top of the plywood, hoping to catch someone jump peeking over the wall, but he's not going to spot it. Right now, it's Ricky who's actually on the plywood stack doing a different kind of jump peek. Now he's moving into a position where that would be possible, but JKS is already dead as Ethan pushed Monster and got him with the backstab on the AK.
The rest of Renegades are trying to slowly pinch their way up. Kusta getting pinched off himself, though, or at least almost. He's able to keep himself up and rolling, though, for these last 2 kills. And him and Ricky dominate the A-bomb site to push CLG up to a 12th round. Not only are they winning out these rounds in style now, but look at how quickly they stack up their money. Kusta is sitting at 12K at the beginning of this round. He's going to be 10K post-buy. The other 4 can afford at least 1 full rebuy on their own, and probably another half-buy, at least another force-up after that as well. Just with 3 rounds won, they already have an extremely strong economy, and that is not good for the Renegades when they're already 4 rounds down. And CLG are just 4 rounds away from winning out the map and the set.
Pretty interesting the way that this game has progressed, but finally CLG can claim that they did not succumb to an eco. They didn't even suffer heavy casualties there. So that's boding well for them moving forward, because there's still a few matches to be played out today. Can't allow that kind of thing to happen once you get deeper in the bracket play. Still, though, they've got to concern themselves with just getting 4 more rounds. It's also all that separates them from Renegades tying up the scoreline, so this game is not over yet. Renegades working with AKs here. No op for either team. Limited utility for the T side. Down to just a couple of smokes and a flashbang. Still plenty in play for CLG. Multiple incendiaries, a smoke, and a lot of flashbangs as well. Renegades trying to get some control of mid bathrooms, moving up. They've got Cutler around the corner. It looks like he's standing on the trash bin. And then he's got Kusta right in the corner next to him. So both of these players watching the same area. Rick A jump peeking for long. And A push could be decimated by these 2 players in mid.
It's going to be tense indeed, but Mollies are doing a great job of at least holding back the Renegades for a few additional seconds here. They do need to move into the site now, though, as we're running into the same problem that CLG often had, which was the timing aspect of this one. They're not really going to leave themselves a whole lot of time to investigate and clear out the site. And Nifty seems to be leading the charge here. I think they know that Kus is sitting in the corner of this. They will try to check for that one. Doesn't get away with anything, but he does dink one player before going down. Cutler, in the meantime, finds himself a double kill. Not ready for more to push into him, though, so that will be Renegades getting control, at least of the T side of the dice box. And I think they'll be happy with that, just having Nexa lurk through on his own regard to hunt for additional kills. Trying to spray through, finds himself one pickup, but traded up by a finesse, and they're not even going to have enough time to plant. The time runs out, and we do end up with Ricky finding at least 1 kill post-timer, which leaves Azur and now Nexa, but Nexa saved, so he's good. But Azur will have no money to reinvest in this round.
So what they did was they charged the site and killed the planter. So they were sticking the plant with not enough time. So I don't know who got that last kill, but he was right behind the dice box planting the bomb, and somebody just charged in and said, like, this is my round, Leroy Jenkins. And he kills the bomb planter and gives CLG the round based on that sole move. It was a gamble, but it was one that had to be made in order to guarantee success there, as it was pretty strong from Renegades up until that point. I'm actually just watching the VOD playback right now so I can see what it was. It was FNS. FNS killed Ustillo just before the bomb went down. Had he gotten that kill a second later, that's a bomb planted, it's a post plant. Instead, FNS wins the round single-handedly with 1 kill.
Well, Ricky finding himself a bit of an early bit of damage against himself there at the beginning of the round. Does not actually trade any of that back either, but they do spot the attempt at a play to get into the B side or at least take control of the sandbags. They're boosting up here to try and see over top of the wall, and it's Nexa on top with the AK, but at the moment, he's being denied vision of pretty much everything. The only thing you can really see is crosses to go up outside of the pit, but oh! Counters out the other boost as they try to go for one behind the CT wall, and that bites back big, and it doesn't allow Nexa to find that kill. The timing on it's perfect, too. Now more of them moving back in. The only kill they traded out so far has been from Ricky downstairs. He does find 2 for himself, but Nifty eliminates him, leaving this round overall into a 3v2. Both the CTs trying to work their way in from heaven, but unless the utility being used, well, CLG have themselves an open path to go into the site, but the problem is there's 3 players just sitting down below waiting for them. Cutler creates forward maybe a little bit too much, but somehow stays alive. No one takes advantage of that and ends up headshotting him. It's Nifty that will punish Kusta, but he tries to do the same exact thing, leaving this all to Cutler here now, as he just tries to delay the plant for as long as possible. Just flashing to get himself out, but fails out on that attempt at the very last second. So now being left set against the 1v3, really not going to be possible. And finally, Nexa will swing out to eliminate him and give the Renegades their 9th round.
Almost a big mistake from Renegades there. Everyone jumped into pit to get guns, and they threw the bomb over the railing. The problem is there was no one there to get it, so they couldn't plant. So they actually lost a lot of clock after throwing that bomb over the edge. It was about 30 seconds or so when the first molly came down on the bomb, and they had a second one as well. Had they just thrown them on top of the bomb, that round goes completely differently. I mean, Kusta also misses a shot that would have helped to make things a lot easier for himself, but still, Nifty here is going to miss the pop flash in mid, as Ustillo and Azza looked like they wanted to go past that smoke that was down at the small stairs, but instead they're going to have to wait as it bounces off the top of the spire in the playground. So, pretty good damage dealt to Kusta early on. He's down to just 12. He's got to be careful in this position as well, as it looks like he took some shots through the door potentially. Wants to recommit, wants to go for that peek yet again, and there it is. He connects onto Nexa, returns the favor, but meanwhile, Ricky has actually gotten a kill as well from Monster Canal, dropping JKS. So good damage dealt early on by Renegades, but 2 players heavily tagged up for CLG.
Still, though, advantage to CLG, and they are starting to sort of read into the situation and attempt to rotate their players appropriately. You can already see at least one is going to fall back from that B bomb set and shift in the other direction here, while still having both Finesse and Cutler at full HP up on the A bomb site. The Renegades, this is a must-win round. They lose out this one, they are going to find themselves reset probably without the capability to really buy into it, too. The only people that are going to be able to do that would be Nexa and Usilla. The other three are not going to have enough cash flow to be able to go for a full buy. FNS is spotted, though, on the jump up, so he's going to have to be a little bit careful, as he's probably going to be the first target on entry now. And he can't actually see past those dice boxes yet, but Cutler is going to be able to. He gets tagged through the semi, down to 20 HP. Now they're trying to push back in, but it's 2 kills for CLG to start it back off. Nifty misses the op shot. That's another one for FNS, and he even closes out with the final kill as well. Ends up with a 3K, and a nice play from the dice box to push CLG up to 14.
All in all, not a bad performance right now from Renegades, but not enough to get past CLG as of yet. They are just 2 rounds away from being eliminated here from the bracket play. CLG was able to take the first map. That was Renegade's pick, Mirage. And moving forward here, they looked pretty good in that first half on Overpass as well. But Renegades has brought the heat just a little bit more in their second half. It's still been predominantly controlled by CLG, but these rounds haven't been easy. For the most part, CLG has had a difficult time in a lot of these situations. Kusta in mid bathrooms with that AWP. He hears some nade play towards mid, and he sees Nifty jump peeking. Now he spots a shot out from the wall as well. He's trying to deliver the fatal blow over the wall, the coup de grace, but he's not going to connect, as Nifty just decelerates below the wall before he can get there in time. Kusta now in position behind the dice box. He's lost his teammate on the site, so he's solo on A right now, where there's a couple of players working towards getting control of mid bathrooms. You can see 3 grouping up in that area. 1 more joining them now from long. Ustillo is in the same spot. There's only 1 player on B. It's JKS, and he's really just there to watch for the push. He hasn't spotted anything yet, but he could soon if he's not too overzealous. You can see Rick A and FNS both going towards the door. Uh-oh. Right into the trap, right into the snake pit. So many players around the corner. FNS, good trigger, discipline, but ultimately, Azza dives around the corner right into FNS path. He thought that he was just going to go straight up catwalk and ignore that position, and now it's a clear call save. There's no reason for CLG to go for this.
Yeah, if they save these 2 guns, they should still be able to buy it. It'll be a little bit dodgy, but I think they can make it in. Considering the advantage they have, though, it might not be the worst decision in the world to try and save, but it's kind of going to be either way. I think they're good enough to buy, though, so I don't really see any reason besides this advantage why they would try to save, just to make sure that everybody's like even and whatnot. But the round itself, again, escapes by the way of the Renegades. They're going to be able to push back up. And not looking like they're going to be too successful in hunting down either of these guns. Okay, never mind. Nifty pushes his way into the long, and apparently Ethan just is not ready for that one. So there goes one of the rifles. They bait out the op shot from Kusta. He's now trapped. The problem is, though, is that, you know, Nifty's the only one upstairs here actually trying to pressure these guys currently. But with the bomb timer still needing another second or 2 here to explode, it does give a few extra seconds for Azza to push back up. Try to drop this op, and they do indeed do that. So that's possibly going to kill the buy now, since some of these guys are sitting really, really low.
FNS is probably wishing he could get those 2 seconds back in the water where he stared at that first target and didn't shoot. He held off thinking, okay, there's going to be a few more players. Odds of him jumping towards me, limited, so he holds off. The second he sees as a turn, he starts to open fire, but it's a strafe jumping target, and he just wins or loses the duel. That's all there is to it. So he wants those 2 seconds back, so maybe he gets that first kill, but realistically speaking, he still dies. There's still multiple players behind Azza ready for a trade. It's unlikely he gets away with anything more. So it's back to pistols here for CLG. Back to the basics. Kusta with the deagle and connector. And right now you can see it is Renegades setting up a little bit slower. They've gotten into water early, but they're just kind of feeling things out, looking for the first player. Nice flashbang in for Nifty. It's an easy shot, or flashbang in for Ethan for that matter. It's an easy shot onto Nifty with that deagle. And it'll give them the man advantage. Good damage dealt to Nexa as well. He's dropped down to 39 HP. Ustillo, though, is walking up water. They're realizing maybe this B site's a little easy to take, but they don't account for Rick A, who's in the site. FNS is in pit. Simultaneously, both players drop, and that'll be the B site in control of Renegades.
Renegades will now move in with the plant. I don't really see a situation where CLG can actually win this out, so their best hope is going to be to post up for exits. Cutler gets denied his heaven position to try and snipe from a little bit further back on the deagle. So the last 2, as I said before, are posting up specifically for exits. Ethan inside of the steps, and Kusta trying to wrap back around towards T-spawn to cut them off if they exit through Monster. Not really a whole lot that Cutler can do, so he's more likely just going to end up posting up here, trying to find anyone that goes to the tunnels. But the round itself goes to the Renegades, and they end up 14-11 now. Just 3 rounds away from tying this up. However, with that 1 save, we should anyway, go immediately into the next buy for CLG.
I mean, they survive with a rifle. That'll definitely help things moving forward. They have more than enough money here, and they can also afford an AWP if they want to buy one. But actually, Ricky goes straight to the rifle, not wanting to put the AWP in the hands of Kusta. Kusta's going to have to buy his own. He's on his own here. He can afford it, though. He already had armor, so he's going to go ahead and go with the AWP and a smoke. 2 kits in play as well. Decent bit of utility for CLG to lie back on. It's really not a bad buy round at all. But losing this one puts them in a really dire spot, as they would be now just down to a 2-round lead with an eco round incoming, cutting the lead to potentially 1. Things are getting a little dicey here for CLG. What looked like it was a guaranteed victory on map 2, all of a sudden not so guaranteed. Gotta be careful. Can't keep giving up those early fights. As they get 3-man setup over on B, FNS is playing on the wall in pit, and Ethan's on the other side. There's a smoke down right now covering that position. Ricky again regaining his spot. The king of pit on the other side, the Muck, as he hangs about. It's actually a 4th player rejoining them on B, so they've got a solid B defense. If Renegades goes towards this direction and they happen to go when Cutler is lurking between both bomb sites, it could be devastating for the T side.
Still going to remain bottled up for right now, though. No explosion from either team, as the Renegades still continue to run down the timer here on a very, very important gun round. CLG just slowly kind of been inching their way forward on the CT side up to 16 rounds, but they haven't been able to push it to a safe point just yet. There's still the potential for Renegades to get back into this map, steal it out of the hands of CLG, and take us to map number 3. And we're going to find out in just a second if that's going to happen, or if CLG will be able to hold nice control of this one. But taking a look at this now, with time once again getting very low, the defenses on B are looking a little bit disjointed right now, so that does leave some cause for worry. But again, the Renegades wanting to try and push their way back in. Nexa goes in towards upper here, and FNS finds himself 1 pickup from downstairs. JKS trades that, and now FNS is trapped. There's no way he's surviving any longer. That leaves him knocked out of the play into a 2v2 with 8 seconds left. Some confusion over who should go for the plant, but they saw Ricky going back over here inside of the CT cubby, and then he just wide peeks it anyway, despite the fact that there was just a shot taken at him. So now all that's left alive is Kusta here, trying to 1v2 this one up on side in heaven. I'll just attempt to leap back downstairs, and JKS absolutely should have heard that. As he creeps forward, though, JKS easily finds him, knocks him out, and that'll be the round going into the hands of the Renegades. 14-12, and another eco for CLG.
This has got to be frustrating if you're CLG. You're watching that score get closer and closer to a tie point. But eco rounds have been somewhat successful for both of these teams, so it's not necessarily a guarantee if you're Renegades. Still, all things considered, with the amount that we've seen Renegades bringing into the round versus what we've got from CLG, they should be able to close this one out, and I think both teams have learned from their mistakes early on where they let those eco rounds occur. And it is just 1 player with armor here on the CZ. That's going to be FNS. They set up for a double peek on long with FNS playing back behind the big rock, Cutler behind the tree. But look at Renegades. They haven't even really moved past connector and stairs. They've got players across the board who are just hanging back very far. Yusillo is finally feeling comfortable peeking towards long now that he hasn't seen anything come out early. But with the amount of utility that Renegades have, they can realistically pop flash any of these positions. However, instead it's a dry peek, and who other than Nifty to open it up? Cutler goes down. FNS feels the urge to avenge his fallen comrade. He too will meet his demise. And Ricky, Ethan, and Kusta are the 3 that remain with very subpar hardware to try and do some amount of damage here for CLG.
Yeah, basically just gambling on the A push, as they're all going to end up stacking over on this site. And it could align well, actually. The Renegades are looking like they're going to go for a slow push up through short and long. But the weird thing is that CLG have like tried to push back out, so I'm curious to see how this is going to work. Not too well. As, it's just left down to Ethan, and he doesn't get anything done either, so it's a full 5-man alive round for the Renegades. And that will take us 14-13. Last real investment for CLG before Renegades were able to possibly take the lead. With this being a round as important as it is, CLG, I believe this is them anyway, are going to call for a tactical pause, as they need to figure out something that will work here and prevent Renegades from being able to complete this comeback and then upsetting them.
At this point, what do you do if you're CLG? You know, this is a map that Renegades historically does not play. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. They almost always veto this map. If they don't veto this, they veto Inferno. In this series, they vetoed Inferno. They, like, going back, like I said, they've only played it a handful of times since 2015. 8 times under the Renegades brand, this team has actually played Overpass. So it's clearly not a map they like to play. but CLG is just hitting that wall, that North American CS wall. 14 rounds. How many times have we watched teams get to that point and they just struggle to get past it? If they go to cash, that's a coin flip in my opinion. Both of these teams now have taken the opponent's map. Both of these teams are running a bit of momentum coming into the opponent's map pick. You know, Renegades, they were backs against the wall. They come into this map. It's a bad map for them. If they can take it, they're really happy moving into map 3. But like just looking at previous history on cash, I can't really pick a clear-cut winner. So if I'm CLG right now, I'm really concerned that we're going to have to see that third map play out because we are not doing well on our defense. It's got to stop here. Got to find a hold. Can't surrender a 14th round. Cannot.
Well, CLG are going to have themselves the double up setup this time, so they have that extra firepower, but they lose utility as a result of that. Only 3 smokes and 3 mollies across those that did not purchase ops. But we have to hope now the double op works out for them, and it is going to be stacked across separate sites. I mean, you'd feel at this point that they'd be able to read into the Renegades as they've been able to... Or, excuse me, I lost my train of thought for a second there. The Renegades have had like a pretty predictable pattern in terms of where they set their players. This round's a little bit different, but for the most part, they've either just been going for like these really slow plays right outside a monster, or these really slow plays like just kind of hang out in the playground and then stack it up towards short A. They haven't really varied it all that much. This round is changing up a little bit, but it's still going to end up kind of forming in the same way where they all move over towards short A at the end of the day. And that's exactly what we'll see here in a few seconds after they clear out steps and what I mean. It's a good thing CLG didn't put pressure there because they get pinched really easily. Now, Cutler and Kusta are going to be a little bit out of position, and they'll have to adjust for this because the A side is still wide open, and neither of these CTs know exactly what's sitting on the other side of that smoke currently.
I don't really see a tremendous change from CLG. Like, the setup doesn't feel that much different than what we've seen from them several rounds that we've seen play out already. Like, JKS is lurking B for Renegades. That's been the way they've played. They put presence towards water after, like the 1 minute 15 mark. There's 3 players playing on B. It's the same 3 playing doubled up on Monster Canal on both sides, and then Rickay's in pit. The only difference this time around is Rickay has an op. That's the only difference. Hopefully that's the only difference that it takes, because they're going to be pressured on B yet again, and their pit players have had a hard time stopping this one. There's Ethan to get that first kill, but he immediately goes down. FNS through the smoke gets 1. Rickay's dropped in the site. FNS does a ton of damage, though, picking up 2 kills and dropping Azure down to 34. The clock is ticking very low. 10 seconds left, but they're able to get the bomb down. It will be a post plant, and they don't have a kit to work with in their hands as of right now. Kusta chiming in with his op, allows Cutler to move up from Catwalk. He's putting shots down to try and bait Nifty out of position if possible, but Nifty's playing the other side of the pole. As Nifty goes out, he's taking damage through the wall. It doesn't matter. 1 versus 1, but Nifty can't get away. What a round it was, and it will be the 15th for CLG, but a costly one at that.
Oh my goodness, that was chaotic at the very end, to say the least there. Nifty ends up thinking he's safe after he finds that first kill, but then just pushes himself into the open with a knife in hand. Tries to hide his head, but it doesn't work, and he ends up losing out on that round. So 15-13. The Renegades actually will still have a better buy than CLG, though, because of the money that they were able to stock up in these last 4 rounds. So CLG are going to end up with an ump, a FAMAS. There's a very large possibility that the Renegades could just trade this one back out and then take it to OT. We will have to find out about that in a few seconds once the Renegades actually do form up and try to push into the site.
Well, whatever it was that they did there, it clearly worked. This time around, Ricky has no op. His op presence in that site didn't seem too effective. Instead, they've moved Kusta over to this B bomb site. Ricky is going to be holding down the toxic.
So what's the plan?
War.